It will soon be Tisha B'Av, and many of us suffer from a silent but heartbreaking problem. We can't cry on this day of tears. As much as we want to, as much as we try, we're simply unable to cry for something as devastating and life-transforming as the Churban. Why is that? Are we that cold and insensitive? That impervious to Jewish suffering? We listen intently to Eicha say the Kinnis and focus on the profound and blood-curdling descriptions of Jewish suffering throughout the millennia in graphic detail. And while we might get choked up a bit here and there and shed a tear, we find it very difficult to cry for the Churban and the loss of the Shekhinah itself. When we hear that the Chesam Sofer drank from his copious tears shed for the Churban, the Sudas Mafsekes, we are as astounded as we are envious. What we wouldn't give to have our own cup of tears. The truth is, the answer is quite simple. We cry when we feel pain. We don't cry when we don't feel pain. So despite understanding so much about the Churban, its causes and its consequences, many of us just don't feel the pain. And yet, we can't be blamed for not trying. We go to great lengths to make the kinnis as informative, meaningful, and as emotional as possible. At times, what is shared is nothing less than jolting. Dynamic speakers and Magidi Shurim span the globe. And thanks to technology, there's a plethora of content covering the blood-stained history of the Jewish people, the root causes of the Churban itself, that would take us literally weeks to consume. But when all is said and done, where's our cup of tears? And even for those fortunate amongst us who do cry, what is it that brings those tears forth? For most, it is an emotional reaction to the graphic depiction of the unspeakable physical and emotional pain engendered by the Churban, but not for the loss of the Shekhinah itself. We must ask ourselves another painful question. Are we to be blamed for this predicament? Well, on one level, the answer is certainly a resounding yes. As Chazal tell us that every generation in which the Beis HaMikdash is not rebuilt, it is as if that generation destroyed it. On the other hand, Hashem certainly understands our situation. We haven't the faintest idea of what we are missing. Not to mention no clue as to how to climb out of it. Hashem created this situation. So what does Hashem expect from us? What does He want? The crux of the problem, and thus the key to the solution, is what I mentioned before. We only cry when we feel pain. And since the Beis HaMikdash and the Churban are beyond our experience, it makes perfect sense that we can't cry. What do I mean? Let us begin with a more precise understanding of what the Beis HaMikdash is at its core, and we can build from there. The Ramban explains in his introduction to Parshas Truma that the Mishkan, the forerunner of the Beis HaMikdash, was designed to be a continuation of the experience of Hashem's revelation at Har Sinai when He gave us the Torah. The mere presence of Hashem and His immeasurable kavod was palpable for anyone fortunate enough to be there. Hashem wanted His presence to be permanent in the life of every Jew, always. V'shachanti b'soichem. But there's another dimension as well, as Shimshon Pinchas Zatzal explains. The psukim in Parshas Yisro that immediately preceded the Matan Torah. Let's look at them. V'yisem li segula mikol ha'amim. And you're a treasure for me amongst all the nations. V'atem tiyu li mamleches kohanim v'goy kodesh. You will be for me a kingdom of priests, a holy nation. These psukim reveal yet another dimension of the Gili HaShechina, that Hashem loves us and wants to forge an intimate relationship with us, the Jewish people. Relationship. This is the key. As we said, Ma'amad Har Sinai was that event that began the endless intimacy between the Creator and His people. The Mishkan and subsequently the Beis HaMikdash were the vehicles to facilitate that intimate relationship as the crux of every Jew's life. So the tragedy of the Churban goes much deeper than our unspeakable suffering. It is the severe downgrade and often the loss of the relationship itself. Nothing could be more tragic than that. But again, if we have never experienced that closeness, how can we mourn or ever hope to retrieve it? I would like to suggest the following. You won't cry immediately, but perhaps you will begin to travel down a path where the tears will eventually flow. Being that we can't cry when we're not in pain, we need to focus on experiencing the pain of the Churban. How can we do that? Well, if the Churban at its core is the loss of the intimate relationship with Hashem, we need to find a way to experience that relationship and then experience its loss. While we don't know what it's like to experience the Shekhinah, there have been moments in all of our lives where we felt Hashem's presence, even for but a moment. Whether it was saying a Chiddush, experiencing the intensity of Asmada, plumbing the depths of a Torah thought, feeling the connection during Shemona Esrei, being absorbed in a Shabbos Nigun, exerting superhuman strength to withstand a Nisayan, feeling the amazing hashkoch in our life, the total involvement in a mitzvah, or giving selflessly to another, even for ever so briefly, we did feel Hashem's presence. The key is that these were experiences, not cognitive constructs. However limited, the closest was experiential. We know what it is. With this foundation, you can begin to build. You need to meditate on one or more of these experiences, to focus on Hashem's closeness at that moment, and see if you can let that experience sink its roots into your heart. See if, when you meditate and marinate in that feeling, it begins to expand. The feeling will be wonderful, and the more you do it, the more you will desire to do it. Eventually, you may even be sad when you need to leave it to do other things. Focus on that sadness, the sadness of leaving the experience of the closeness. The sadness is the key because it is born of disconnecting from the connection to Hashem. Realize that the sadness is a doorway to those tears. The Beis HaMikdash was the experience of Hashem's presence. Until Hashem is Rachmanas upon us and rebuilds it for us, we need an alternative route to feel His presence, and how life just isn't the same without it. The key is that our connection to the Churban must migrate from the experiential, not from the cognitive, not even from the emotional, but rather from the realm of experience itself. This is the secret to unlocking those tears.